Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're digging into a really unsettling story. It's all about the Dockna guest house and the ghost of Lady Eleanor Whitaker.
It really is a chilling one. It kicks off back in 1897. This guest house was just built, and you have Captain Edward Whitaker, a British officer, arriving with his new bride, Lady Eleanor.
Right. And they weren't exactly peas in a pod, were they?
No, not at all. By all accounts, he was pretty harsh, ruthless even. But she was the opposite gentle, loved the local wildlife. Apparently, she spent a lot of time sketching near the Cosi River.
A stark contrast, yeah. And that difference seems to be at the heart of the tragedy.
It really does. The story goes that Eleanor saw Edward being cruel to a leopard cub, something she cared about, and they had this terrible argument.
And the next day?
The next morning, she was found dead in the Cosi River.
Officially, it was ruled a tragic accident.
But that wasn't the end of it, obviously. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about it. Exactly. The servants didn't buy it. They whispered, and the local priest, this is pretty telling, he refused to perform the last rites.
Refused? Why?
He apparently said her soul wouldn't find peace, that it would stay bound to the water near where she died until justice was done. Pretty ominous words.
Yeah, that definitely says a chilling tone. And it seems those words weren't just empty threats. The hauntings started, didn't they?
They did, and a pattern emerged over the decades. Really disturbing stuff.
Before we get into the specific hauntings, though, you mentioned something about survival tips, almost, based on these events.
Yes, it's fascinating, really. Over time, certain, let's call them precautions, have developed. Things people believe you should do if you stay there.
Okay, like what? What are the do's?
Well, one is to put a brass bowl filled with salt under your bed.
Salt. Why salt?
The thinking is salt absorbs moisture, right? So maybe it absorbs the lingering dampness associated with her drowning, or perhaps even negative energy. It's folk magic, essentially.
Interesting. Okay, what else?
Another one, quite strange, is to sleep with a silver coin in your mouth.
In your mouth? Really?
Yeah. It seems to be linked to old burial customs, like paying the ferryman, perhaps. Or maybe just mimicking something placed on the dead to sort of trick the spirit? Deceive her, maybe?
Wow. That's specific and morbid. Is there a third do?
The last one is a bit more, maybe, conventional in ghost lore. Keep a lit candle burning all night.
Okay, protection by light. But why fire specifically?
The belief is that Eleanor's spirit fears fire. And when you remember that her husband, Captain Whitaker, was cremated, well, it adds a layer, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
So salt under the bed, silver in the mouth, candle burning. Got it. Now, what about the things you absolutely shouldn't do, the don'ts?
Right, these are just as important, maybe more so. First off, avoid the bridal suite at all costs.
Why that room?
That was apparently Captain Whitaker's room originally. It's thought to hold the strongest negative energy, the echo of him, perhaps. Just don't stay there.
Makes sense. Steer clear. What's next?
Don't look at reflections after dark. Not in mirrors, not in water, not even a window pane, really.
Ah, the classic mirror portal idea.
Exactly. The belief is she uses reflections as gateways to watch or maybe even to cross over. It's a deeply unsettling idea, looking into a mirror late at night in that place.
Definitely adds to the creep factor. Okay, one more don't.
The big one. Never speak her name. Don't say Eleanor Whitaker out loud.
Just saying it summons her.
That's the belief. It's like a direct invitation, drawing her focus straight to you. Easy rule to say, probably incredibly hard to follow if you're terrified.
Absolutely. So avoid the husband's room, reflections in her name. It's like a set of spectral house rules.
Pretty much. Hard-earned rules, apparently. Now, should we talk about why these rules exist? The actual hauntings?
Yes, let's get into the pattern. What was the first documented incident after her death?
The first one often cited is from 1923. The caretaker, a man named Ram Singh, he was found drowned in his bed.
Drowned in bed. How is that even possible?
That's the thing. His night clothes were dry, but his lungs were filled with, reportedly, 2 liters of Cosi River water.
River water. But he was inside, in bed.
Inside, in bed, and there were other things. Bruises on his neck, supposedly finger-shaped. His bed sheets were tangled around him, almost like river weeds.
That's deeply disturbing.
Yes.
Anything else?
Yes. The report mentions the mirror in his room. Just before dawn, someone glimpsed something. A blurred figure, dripping wet, wearing what looked like an old-fashioned, possibly Victorian gown.
Lady Eleanor.
It certainly fits the profile. Fast forward quite a bit, the hauntings didn't stop. Take 2005. A honeymoon couple, Amit and Priya.
Oh no, a honeymoon. That's awful.
Terrible. Amit woke up in the middle of the night. He heard dripping water.
Okay, leaky plumbing maybe.
He thought so too at first, but then he saw her. A woman standing by the bed. He described her wearing a rotting wedding dress, her hair just endlessly dripping water onto the floor.
God, that's terrifying. Did she speak?
She did. According to Amit, she whispered something utterly chilling. Husbands should never hurt what their wives love.
Right back to the leopard cub incident.
Exactly. And then, he said, it felt like water was flooding his mouth, choking him. He couldn't breathe.
But he survived. You said Priya was there.
Yes, Priya woke up somehow, saw him thrashing, choking. She managed to drag him out of the room, possibly saving his life. She herself was unharmed, interestingly.
That distinction, him being the husband, seems crucial.
It does seem to fit a pattern. And then there was the journalist, Neha Kapoor, in 2018. She went there specifically to investigate the hauntings.
What happened to her?
She didn't make it through the night. All they found was her phone with a final voice memo.
What was on it?
It's horrifying. You can hear splashing sounds.
Okay.
Then a distorted, watery, bubbling version of God Save the Queen.
The British anthem. Why that?
Perhaps linked to the captain. Or just a spectral mockery.
Yeah.
Then just gurgled screams and the recording cuts off.
And how was she found?
Drowned, also in her bed. And the autopsy revealed river algae in her stomach, a specific type only found about 5 miles downstream from the guest house, near where Eleanor's body was originally discovered.
So the water itself, it's from that spot.
It seems so. That's the most disturbing link. All the victims are either couples, where often the man is targeted, or solo travelers, like Neha, perhaps mirroring Eleanor's isolation in the end.
And the timing.
The attacks consistently happened between midnight and 3 a.m. Those were supposedly the hours her body lay undiscovered in the river.
Chilling consistency. Are there other sensory details reported?
Yes. Survivors often mention a distinct smell just before or during the encounter. Lavender, mixed with the scent of river mud.
Lavender.
It was reportedly Eleanor's favorite perfume.
So the specific water, the timing, the scent, the targeting.
Yeah.
It paints a terrifyingly clear picture of a very focused, very vengeful spirit.
It really does. And the strange phenomena haven't stopped. Even recently, things are happening.
You mean beyond the actual attacks? What kind of things?
Yeah. Well, remember the old well on the guest house grounds? It was cemented shut years ago, back in '99, I think.
Okay.
But since around 2020, they say it refills itself. Every night, water just appears in the sealed well.
That's impossible.
Yeah.
But symbolic, isn't it? The water always returning.
Deeply symbolic and deeply unsettling. It's like the place itself can't forget the drowning.
Is there anything else? More recent reports?
There are the dreams. People who've stayed there, survivors, they sometimes report having the same recurring dream.
Which is?
They see a woman, presumably Eleanor, cradling a leopard cub, singing it a lullaby.
Wow. That's incredibly sad, actually. Amidst all the horror, that image of tenderness she lost.
It adds a layer of tragedy, doesn't it? It reminds you this isn't just a monster, it's born from pain.
Absolutely. But there's still a threat, right? A current one?
Oh, yes. The guest book. There's an entry that appears every single morning. Freshly written.
What does it say?
It's described as being in this elegant but sort of old-fashioned handwriting. It reads, "Love drowned me, now I return the favor."
Chilling.
Yeah.
Direct. A declaration of intent, really.
No room for doubt there. Which brings us to a final, maybe practical piece of advice for our listeners.
Okay.
If you're ever staying somewhere, anywhere, a hotel, a guest house, and your pillow feels damp, unusually damp for no reason you can figure out, maybe just sleep somewhere else that night.
You're suggesting her influence.
Yeah.
It might not be limited to just Dachna. That feeling dampness could be a sign.
The implication is certainly there, isn't it? A final unsettling possibility.
Definitely unsettling. So we've covered the tragic story of Lady Eleanor, the truly terrifying pattern of these drownings and these strange, specific rules for survival that have cropped up.
And it really makes you think, doesn't it? Beyond just a scary ghost story, what does this whole saga suggest about grief, about injustice left unresolved, about how trauma can just soak into a place?
And the power of a spirit that feels wronged, denied peace. It lingers, demanding attention, demanding what? Justice, revenge. Maybe we can never fully know.
Maybe not. Some depths remain unexplored, perhaps.
A truly thought-provoking and frankly quite terrifying tale. Join us next time for another deep dive.